Yeah. You can put it in the chat. You can appreciate all of these beings, including our movement of Agape today, all about rising up, lifting our vibrational frequency that we may be in sync with the perfect spiritual idea of who and what we are, sans dirt on the filter of our perception, that we may see life more cleanly and more profoundly. Let's give them some more love, please. Let's embrace Mary Ann Lewis. Let's embrace our Agape House Band. Listen, put our arms around ourselves and embrace ourselves, that we've come here today to celebrate God's intention to reveal itself everywhere in its fullness throughout all of its creation, that God may come into its own in each and every one of us. That true worship is allowing this presence that is never in absence to know itself as our very life through our thought, our word, and our deed, that we may anchor the realm of ever-expanding good on earth as it is in the highest heaven, until earth becomes heaven, because the ground upon which we are standing is holy, because God is there, and because we are there recognizing the presence of God. Are you embracing yourself? Let me hear the vibration of a great shout of jubilation all through the globe. This month and this day, as we are celebrating the theme of try-possibility for a change, last week we came to an understanding that we are a possibility-thinking community, a community impetus around right seeing and right being, with the awareness that if your mind can't see possibility, then your eyes can't see opportunities. And so we are flooding our mind and our heart and our soul with God consciousness, because with God all things are possible. With God all things are possible. Resurrection, healing, unfolding, the elimination of doubt and worry and fear and anxiousness and anxiety. We can live at that level with dynamic spiritual practice. And so we're saying, try possibility for a change. Try possibility for a transformation. With the awareness that if you're honest with yourself, as I was mentioning in the way of meditation service this morning, sometimes you don't really want to change. Sometimes, if you really think about embracing what you were praying for, you really may not really want it on an egoic level. You may not really want the life that is full to overflowing with blessing the least of us as the best of us, living in sacred service, living in generosity, living in dynamic forgiveness, living anchoring the realm of ever-expanding good. Oftentimes, from the egoic perspective, you want something more than you want to give something. And so if we really want to change, if we really want to be transformed by the renewing of our mind, heart, and soul, sometimes we have to sneak up on transformation. Sometimes if you go into a bright room, while you are in darkness, sometimes the light is a little too bright, so you have to incrementally move into it. And so what do? You develop a spiritual practice that allows you to but slowly become aware that there is a light within you. You are that light that lights up every individual that comes to the planet until you're living a full-on surrendered life. And the light that you are seeking is the light of your own life, the Christ, the hope of glory within your own soul. And you're saying, bring on the change. Bring on the transformation. Bring on the next level of my unfoldment. I'm available. I'm ready. I'm open. I'm here. And thus, as we are celebrating the Easter grand rising, as we're celebrating that topic, grand rising, your resurrection day, the emphasis on your resurrection day, because Jesus the Christ is the great way shower. He's showing the way. I did not put that into past tense. He is a way shower. He is the exemplar, the example. So as we look at the template of his life as the way shower that he is, we begin to see that as he was fasting, of course, those 40 days and 40 nights, retooling his spirit and transcending the egoic perception of reality, he transcended the ego's persuasion of coming up and saying, yo, Jesus, check it out. You are hungry, dude. You haven't eaten in a while. Why don't you go ahead and change this stone to bread, bro? There's nobody out here. Can't nobody see you sneaking a little bread. Do it. And he said, get thee behind me, ego. Get thee behind me, downward Luciferian energy. Get behind me, Satan. Man is not meant to live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. I can live directly from the light of the eternal. And interestingly enough to know, I mean, that was thousands of years ago. Now we have the quantum physicists and evolutionary biologists such as Bruce Lipton sharing that we get 20% of our energy from food and 80% directly from the quantum field operating through the melanin. So most of the energy we're getting is from the quantum field. And when you meditate and when you pray and when you surrender to the presence of God, that energy that is available to everyone flows through us unceasingly. We are not meant to live by merely bread alone, but by the every word, the vibrational frequency from the mouth of God. God doesn't have a mouth, so that means directly from the inspiration from the Godhead, which is everywhere. This is Jesus transcending the egoic perception. And then the ego came back again and said, yo, check it out. Listen, why don't you throw yourself off this mountain and prove that lest thou dash thy foot against the stone, the angels will take care of you. Ego started quoting scripture. And Jesus said, get thee behind me. He said, in substance, I'm not here to be a show-off. I'm here to surrender to the presence of God. Ego came back again and said, yo. Took him to the high mountain and said, you can have all of this. And Jesus said, in substance, I'm here for God. He transcended manipulation, fame, and materialism, and moved into his ministry of healing and uplifted inspiration, remember, as a way shower, not as look at me, but as I'm looking at you. I see the gifts within you. I see the potential within you. I have come that you may have more life and have it more abundantly. I have come that you may see who and what you really are. He lifted his voice just like that. You see, I have come to see who you really are. You see, and in substance, as the ministry unfoldment, as you know, we're going to rush on through this story because there's so much about Jesus that even Joanne Coleman can tell you about here. Listen. Then, at some point in the ministry, he was kissed by Judas. Kissed him on the cheek. They do that in the mafia now. Saying in substance, and Jesus said, in substance, whatever I do quickly. In other words, I got a destiny. In other words, each and every one of us have been kissed by Judas. We've been kissed by loss, limitation, death, fear, doubt, and worry, disease, discomfort, things that we haven't planned for. We've all had the Judas kiss that serves as an evolutionary trigger for us to go deep within ourselves to activate our potentiality. And when you understand that life is not happening to you, but life is happening for you, because life is progressive, you stand up in the frequency of Jesus and you forgive everything. And you take full responsibility for your life. Responsibility does not mean blame. It just means I'm taking full responsibility for whatever's happening in my life at this particular moment. And the moment you move into the dynamic of forgiveness of everything, of everyone, and you take full responsibility, then your unconscious, your subconscious, your conscious, past life karmic propensities begin to be healed because you have elevated yourself out of being a victim to what's happening in the world, and you've gone deep into taking responsibility and moved into forgiveness so that all that is in the unconscious and the subconscious and the conscious and past lives begin to be reconciled, begin to be requalified, begin to be transmuted so that you can stand in the awareness that humanity, people may have meant things for evil, but God meant it for good. You stand in the awareness that life is progressive, and in the vibration of forgive them, for they know not what they do. Forgive yourself, because you didn't know what you were doing. Your life is transmuted into a higher frequency. And then you begin to understand that there are sub-personalities that all of us have, and we have roles, and we have labels. And as I was teaching yesterday at the practitioner meeting at 7 a.m., we gathered in person and on Zoom to meditate together and to pray together and to hold the community in a high vibration and frequency. I reminded all of us that we are to stop on a regular basis and go into prayer and let go of all labels of who we think we are. Male, female, black, white, yellow, brown, straight, gay, trans, queer, plus, whatever. To let go of all labels on a regular basis. So we come to an understanding that we are the light that lights up every individual that comes to the planet. And then we begin to see, with that awareness, that all the ways that we've identified ourselves are temporal identities, all have ways of accessing the universal law, producing experience, sometimes in a very limited way. But when we come to the awareness that we are to move from being a role mate to a soulmate, coming into an awareness that we are label-free. Every time you go into meditate, let go of your labels. Every time you go into prayer, you're no longer your profession. You're no longer what you do in the world. Your mind is not limited by past training. You're standing in an awareness that you are the light that lights up every individual that comes to the planet. And then without that label, without that limited perception, life starts to take over. And that resurrecting spirit of Christ starts to be dominant in every area of your life. You're not hindering it with limited perception of what your personality thinks you want in any given moment. In other words, you let go of what the personality wants to be happy, and you tap into the intrinsic happiness of the soul, and you share, you shine, you radiate, you glow, you give, you become in service to the Most High, and the added things come into your life because you have created a ripple that goes out, and that ripple comes back and shocks and surprises you with more good than you could possibly imagine. Are you picking up what I'm putting down here? So that's beyond the label. And then there is his template of non-judgmentalism. Judge not, lest ye be judged, but judge righteous judgment. What I want to say here is the world does not need fixing. The world needs loving. We have to love the world, not fix it. You see, the mind is addicted to what's wrong and tries to fix it. But your spirit, your higher self, not the limited perceptions, but the higher self sees the fundamental order and harmony that's everywhere, untouched by human experience, untouched by limited perception. Someone's need to stand up and love this into existence. Not fix the world, but to love that which is. I was sharing in yesterday's practitioner class, practitioner meeting, at a particular time when we were at 5700, the old building that had a flood and moved us into a new building. I remember I was in Santa Monica at a meeting, and the plan was to finish this meeting, get home, change my clothes, and then get to the Wednesday evening service. But as I came out of the meeting and got into my car, it wasn't just a traffic jam, it was a parking lot. No cars were moving. We were just stuck there. And I went into prayer, and then incrementally and suddenly, my consciousness expanded. And I saw one being driving all the cars. It wasn't separate beings driving cars. It was one presence everywhere driving all the cars, and there was nothing wrong. There were no problems. Everything was perfect. And I remember sitting in my car, and I could see the different individuals in the car, some people blowing their horns, some people being upset, some people looking at their watch, some people creating all of these scenarios of issues in their mind. They were just making it up in their mind. There was nothing wrong at all. We were just in a parking lot. One being driving all the cars. And I'll always remember that I became aware that there was no way that I was going to get home in time to change and then go to Agape. So I just altered my plan and just went to Agape and spoke about cosmic consciousness. But the point being, I could see and love the presence exactly as it was at that particular moment, and all issues were being made up on the mental level. We're not here to fix the world. We're here to love the world. We're not here to save the world. We're here to serve the emerging paradigm. But you have to see the possibility in order to participate in the opportunities that arise. These are all templates of the teachings of Jesus. And then we come to an understanding that, as I was saying in the early morning way of meditation service, that he did not get snared by the thieves of the past and the future while he was on the cross. The thief of the past said, hey, what did we do? What did you do to get here? You don't deserve to be here. That was the past speaking. Thief of the future said, wait a minute, what's going to happen to us? And that was a temptation to go into the future. Anxiousness, anxiety, what's going to happen when I die? Now, metaphysically, of course, and spiritually, we know that death is just taking off a tight shoe. Death is just coming out of a dream of separation. Jesus simply said, in substance, today thou shalt be with me in paradise. In other words, he didn't get snared by the past or the future. He was in present moment. Here, now, all is well. Paradise, life eternal, peace, joy. If we can incrementally mind fast from the egoic perception of lack and limitation, come to the realization that love is not getting what you want from other people. Abundance is not money. Begin to be aware that love is a non-negotiable total givingness of the Spirit seeking to operate through our heart. Abundance is the lilies of the field consciousness, feeling and sensing that all of our needs are met even when we can't see it. Live in that possibility. If we can begin to hold the frequency of transcending fame, materialism, manipulation, we can transcend that which appears to be done to us and realize everything is done for us. Evolutionary triggers to activate the latent potential within us all. Whatever thou doest, do it quickly, Judas. I got a destiny. There's something within me that wants to come forward. You're just quickening it. You're speeding it up. I'm not merely my body. I'm not merely the color of my skin. I'm not merely my sexual orientation. I'm not merely any labels of what I have done or where I've been. I am that. I am that. And then I'm not to fix the world. I am to be a lover of humanity, a lover of God. A lover that I may see the world as God sees it. Behold, I make all things new. In that instant of right seeing, that's the resurrection. That instant, that is the resurrection. You're seeing the way it is. Now, the ramifications, of course, is that the mental body, the emotional body, the psychological, the physical body, the financial body, the body of your affairs start to vibrate like a tuning fork to that right seeing. So it looks to the world, oh, she's improving. It looks to the world, oh, he's acquired something. It looks to the world like, oh, she's getting better. But you know, all you have done is eliminate that which does not belong to you. You've eliminated the labels. You've eliminated the fear and the anxiety. You didn't add anything to you. What did he say? Who by taking thought can add 1 cubit to his stature, 1 cubit to her stature, 1 cubit to them stature, 1 cubit to they stature, whatever you want to call yourself. You didn't add anything. It's not about cosmetic. It's about consciousness. So you can't add anything. All you're doing is rising up and revealing. Jesus revealed life eternal. He revealed there's no death. He revealed that death is an illusion of separation. He revealed, I am. And then he said, in substance, greater things than these shall ye do. There is the Christ, the highest potential within us all, the hope of glory that's within us. So you have to ask yourself, do you really want to change? Do you really want to be transformed by the renewing of your mind? Do you really want what you're praying for? That means you're going to have to shift your perception. God, you're not going to change God's mind about you. You're not going to convince God of anything. God is God. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. God is waiting. Not really, I'm just using this as a linguistic convenience. God is waiting for you to wake up and say, yes, send me. Yes, here am I. Yes, I surrender all. Yes, like Jesus, into thine hands I commit my spirit, come what may. Now we incrementally or totally live at that level, then the good that the limited self is seeking to get, oh my God, the shock and awe of the good that flows in your life. I'm not talking about materiality. I'm talking about a peace that passes human understanding, a deep sense of well-being, a deep sense of feeling tone that all needs are met, a deep sense of safety and wellness and well-being, divine support. All of that happens. And as Kelvin was reminding me of something I said many years ago on an Easter, you'll understand the 9 words from the Apocrypha that Jesus said after the resurrection. He said, in substance, ta-da, I'm back. How you like me now? Ta-da, I'm back. How you like me now? That's what you'll say. Those that counted you out, those that gossiped about you, that talked about you, that put you down, that said you'll never amount to nothing. It may have been some teacher in your elementary school. It may have been some family member. They said you'll never be. You can't, it's not in you. You'll always make mistakes, blah, blah, blah. That resurrecting spirit of the Christ will rise up. You'll begin to glow with a peace and a dynamic success. And you'll say, ta-da, I'm back. I'm new. Behold, all things are made new. How you like me now? You see, can't touch this. You can't touch this. You see, that's the spiritual realm. We're not religious, please understand. And though I can speak about Jesus, Jesus didn't know anything about Christianity. Didn't even exist. Without labels, he simply said, what? Am I who? Am I this person? Am I that? When you see me, you see the presence of God that sent me. When you see me, you see the presence that sent me. That's how you want to walk into a room. I was sent here by God. I was sent here by love. I was sent here by peace. When you see me, you see the beauty that's sending me. You see the generosity. You see the love, the creativity. You see the intelligence. You see the divine order. You see God that has sent me. I've committed my life beyond religiosity, spirituality, conscious oneness with the presence, grand rising. It's your resurrection day. Jesus did his thing. What about you? Jesus did his thing. He did it. What about you? You can't ride into heaven on the coattails of somebody else's work. Oh, yeah, there's a tuning fork vibration. Yes, the love of Jesus, the devotion, it all helps. It's wonderful. I love Jesus. Don't get me wrong. I love Jesus. But I know I got to do my own work. I've got to pray. I've got to meditate. I've got to study. I've got to share. I've got to give. I've got to forgive. I've got to do the same thing that he did. Then, resurrection time. Die daily, resurrection time. Die daily, resurrection time. Die daily, resurrection time. Grand rising. It's your resurrection day. God is good. I want you to know. Breathe into this. Release. Deep breath. Release. Deep breath. Release. Feel the import of the Spirit within you. Feel your love of the presence that's never an absence, called by many names. Feel that love. Now breathe in. Sustain the breath at the apex right there. Feeling your love of the presence for no other reason that you just love to love God. Feel that. Now release. I always like quoting this very small passage from the Science of Mind and Spirit textbook on page 33, where it says, "Never is there a cosmic famine. God is always God. We may stumble, but always there is that eternal voice forever whispering within our ear, that thing which causes the eternal quest, that thing which forever sings and sings." Listen, your desire to wake up, your desire for conscious unity with the presence, that desire is the awakened part of you emerging to take over your consciousness. So you're living more and more and more from the unlimited self and less from the limited self. Your identity changes. You won't even recognize yourself. Oh, my God. I better stop right now. Fortunately, I got 30, 40 more years to do. Maybe longer. I've just been told last night I had at least 40, so I'm staying with that. So listen. We rise up. Come with me right now into the upper room, into the expanded awareness of the all good. Remember what I said last week, that you can't take your dirty laundry into the upper room? No, there's no vibrational match there. You are rising up and expanding your awareness, forgiving yourself, forgiving everyone for everything. Forgive them for they know not what they do, even if you think they knew what they were doing. You rise up. And in this moment of grand rising, our Easter, our springtime, our coming into full bloom, our rising through the dank darkness of the soil, our rising through the cement in some cases, we enter into the feeling tone of gratitude. Dynamic thanksgiving. I'm talking dynamic thanksgiving, not wispy. Not, I'm grateful. No, I'm so thankful for my life. I'm so grateful that I exist, that I can recognize the presence everywhere. I see God, as Meister Eckhart said, through the same eye that God sees me. Oneness. And this consciousness of oneness. The vibrational word that was spoken before the beginning of time is echoing right here and right now. I have the privilege and the honor to speak the word for each and every one of us today, that we may be free and liberated from lack and limitation. It does not exist. It's a figment of the imagination. That we may stand up with a greater readiness within our own heart and soul. And let there be light. Let there be love. Let there be abundance. Let there be joy. Let there be beauty. Let there be intelligence. Let there be all that God is everywhere, now known by us. We are a community impetus for more good than we could possibly imagine. I have the privilege of speaking the word for each and every one of us, that we may be free today, that every organ, action, function of our body temple may every whit whole. That our organs and actions and functions are hearing the word and coming under the aegis of the celestial body. That our mental body is clear. That our emotional body is pure. That our physical body is whole. Our psychological body is clean and clear. The body of our affairs are reflecting the fundamental order of the cosmos. We accept nothing less than this. It is in this awareness that in this moment of sacred silence, we feel that deep sense of perfection that we did not create. We feel our own life that we did not create. Our life emerged from the eternal. In the same way that a wave emerges from the ocean. A wave doesn't create itself. It emerges from the movement of the ocean. We have emerged from the thought of the infinite. Oh, feel that. I want you to feel it. 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 Feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it. Be right there, be right there. Be right there, be right here. Be right here. Hold your place in the eternal right now. We have some people to pray for.